Everyone, this is Andrea Saavedra with RE/MAX Real Estate Associates. Today I'm going to go over this presentation, and I'm going to start by saying this. Choosing the right property represents your path to get to the closing table. Again, I want you to get this, please. Choosing the right property represents your path to get to the closing table. Just like Sam Rayburn said, don't try to go too fast. Learn your job. Don't ever talk until you know what you're talking about. If you want to get alone, go alone. What he means by this is that you do have to spend some time on learning what you're going to be working on, and that's representing buyers and sellers. So please do your research, spend your time getting to learn these things because it's important. It's values that you're going to be giving to your clients. What do buyers want? They always want to make sure that they get a good deal. They want to know how much is their monthly payment and how much money they're going to have to pay for closing costs. They want to like the house. They're looking for location, schools. They're looking to make sure that that the house that they buy needs no repairs and no hassles. And they also want to make sure that the title is under their name. That's important for them. Let's take a look at sellers. They want to get their max returns for their property, top dollar. Seller's net, that's what they want. They want to know how much money they're going to net at closing. They want to know how fast is the property going to sell. Are they doing any repairs? And they want to make sure that the sale happens with no hassles. And I always say this: give them what they want. If you concentrate on your principal's benefits, that's your client's benefits, yours will follow right behind. And just like Zig Ziglar said, you can have everything in life you want if you would just help other people get what they want. I'm a true believer of that, and I always help my people, try to do the best I can. And by doing so, I always do a property research. So I say, research your property. And just like Neil Armstrong said, research is creating new knowledge. The more you know about the property, the more knowledgeable do you show for clients, and they see this. And just like Zig Ziglar said, if people like you, they will listen to you. But if they trust you, they'll do business with you. And that's what ultimately what we're looking for. Things that will affect the seller's benefits, the flood zone. So you need to know these things. Is the property needing any repairs? Why? Because it's going to affect the seller's net. Is the property going to appraise? You find out by doing a CMA. Are there any title issues? That's going to represent more time to the seller. Disclosures, is he being well represented? Are the right disclosures being presented to a buyer? Because that's going to bring hassle to the seller if we don't do the right thing. How much is the mortgage payoff? A lot of people will come and say, hey, Andrea, I only owe $60,000. Well, when I get the payoff balance, it turns out that they owe $65,000. So that affects the seller's numbers, okay? I'm sorry. The homeowners association, do they owe any money to the homeowners association? That also affects the seller's net. Then we go into what are the things that will affect the buyer's benefits. The taxes, are they too high? That is going to increase the monthly payment. The hazard insurance, what is the quote that we can get for the buyer so we know that he's okay with the number, because that can affect the monthly payment. Is the property in a flood zone? Does he need flood insurance? We want to make sure that we know this ahead of time, because that's going to add more money to the closing cost and a higher monthly payment. Is the property in the mud district? That affects the monthly payment. Are there any repairs that are needed? That's going to take timing, and that affects the mortgage. Are there multiple offers? That affects their their monthly payment, their closing cost. The appraisal, that affects the love they have for the property and the closing cost. So it's important that you know how to do research for all of this. And just like I always say, do a preliminary property research. Keep calm and enjoy research. It's all about that. And just like Albert Einstein said, everything should be made as simple as possible, but not simpler. So that means, yeah, we're going to try to narrow it down and make it as simple as possible, but that doesn't mean that we're going to omit important information by not doing what we have to do, okay? Then what are the disclosures that you will need? You're going to need the lead-based paint addendum if the property was built before 1978. You're gonna need a water district mud. If the property is not paying taxes, I'm sorry, if it's not paying water to the city water. So if there's anything, sorry, if there's a mud district, we need to let the buyers know. Mandatory homeowners association is the property in a homeowners association, so we need to find that out. Request for mortgage information, that will be the payoff balance of whatever the owner owes on that property. And then the seller's disclosure. This is an important one. This is the most important disclosure. It has to be accurate. It has to be complete because it's the cause number one for lawsuit. That's for the seller. But once the seller gets into a lawsuit, everybody involved in the transaction can get into the lawsuit. So let's make sure that we don't get into that by helping our sellers fill out the things, the disclosures correctly. Then we go into the CMA. This is key for me. Competitive market analysis will give you information that you need for the buyers and for the sellers. You will, be able to tell the buyer, hey, this is a good deal or not. It's not a good deal. You're going to be paying too much for this property, or you're paying too low. So that represents a good deal. So CMA, very important. For sellers, they want to know how much the property can sell for and how much money they're going to net after closing. So CMAs are very important. You always do one every time you're representing a buyer and or a seller. Then we go into where are you going to get this information from? And I always say, hey, we as realtors have valuable resources, and I'm just going to list a few of them here. The listing realtor. You're going to get that information from that person if you're representing a buyer. You're going to get the information from the HAR MLS property printout. You're going to get it from archives, the properties that have been listed before. You're going to get it from Realist. This is the most important. I think I should have put that one first here. But this is the tax records. This is where everything comes from. So I think that this one, every time, it just cracks me up when somebody says, hey, I'm going to submit an offer, and they just print the MLS and they don't get the Realist tax records. There's a lot of information you need in that tax records that you need it in order for you to submit a right offer or to list a property. So it's important that you get that. A county appraisal district records. You get information from National Association of Realtors, RPR, the mortgage info, the flood, is it in a flood zone? And it'll give you a lot more information. You also get it from Harris County flood website. ComGate, you get the warranty deeds. And obviously, another thing that's very important, a valuable research, it's the neighbors. I always tell my buyers, hey, if you're trying to buy a property within a certain neighborhood and you want to know what the neighborhood looks like, or we can tell you about the neighborhood. We can tell you about, information about what happens there, but we're not going to be able to tell you information about the property. And guess who's going to give you that information? The neighbors. If the property flooded, they'll tell you up to where the water went into the property. So this is where you get all your information, okay? And again, do your research. Insanity means doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. If you know and learn how to do your property research, you have gold. So let's do that, guys. I'm also going to teach you how to do the property research in another video. And for now, I'll just leave you again with this. Insanity means doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. You guys have a great day.